Mm-hmm.
And I also want to remind everybody to go ahead and subscribe and like, and to follow us on Twitter at CS Corner and on Instagram. But we are sitting here on the eve of New Year's Eve, which on New Year's Eve is the day of the college football playoff. So here we are, 24 hours before the college football playoff. At 4 o'clock, we have Michigan and TCU. And at
Mm-hmm.
8 o'clock, we have Ohio State versus Georgia. So I've watched these teams, all of these teams actually, periodically throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think these matchups are really interesting matchups this year, actually. So I wanted to go ahead and just, we don't have to give a full breakdown or anything like that, but I just wanted to go ahead and let's do a breakdown in the form of a prediction. So
Yeah.
go ahead and let's do Michigan TCU
Oh,
first.
okay. Okay. So you
Yeah.
get to do the other one first. So I think in terms of Michigan and TCU, I think that TCU has a really good offense. I really do. And a lot of Big 12 teams, they remind me of Baker Mayfield's Oklahoma team a lot. They have a really good quarterback, makes a lot of really great plays. They're really explosive at times, and they have a serviceable defense. Um, I don't think that can work necessarily as well as it has the rest of this season against this Michigan squad, especially up front. Those guys are massive and they're very, very athletic. So if TCU can get their offense rolling and, keep up with what their defense, I don't know if they can keep up. But if they can keep up, then it will be close. But otherwise, I think it's a lot like looking at like an Alabama playing one of those Oklahoma teams. It's close for a little bit. They can like go for blow, and then they just get tired and it'll run away. So
Like
that's how
Michigan did to every other team this season.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So I think it's going to look a lot like that. And I was listening to this today when I was watching one of the other games, and they were talking about Michigan actually, and it was something that I didn't think about. They had that monkey on their shoulder about beating Ohio State, so they were trying to build teams to beat Ohio State, and they did it last year. So they like went on the mountaintop, and that was their mountaintop, and then they went into the CFP and got embarrassed and everything. And they were like, but now that they've like beaten Ohio State and they've beaten Ohio State twice, they no longer have that as their goal. So now they're playing for that other thing. And I think they were playing for just to beat Ohio State before. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't think about that. So we'll see. And I do think their team's better. They have a better quarterback. Um, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
So what do you give the score? Give me a score.
Oh, whew, let's see that can. I'm gonna go with 35-17.
35-17. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 48-24 and Michigan pulls away mid third quarter.
Okay.
Mid to late third quarter. Um, okay, Ohio State versus Georgia to me is the more potentially interesting matchup, but also could end up in a blowout. Like it because of all of the teams in the playoff, if you're Georgia, you look at all four teams in the playoff, and you're like, well, damn, the only team that is built to potentially give us a little bit of trouble is Ohio State, and that is because when Georgia has struggled at all throughout the season, even a little bit, it's been versus teams that can pass. And one thing that Ohio State can do is they can sling the rock, especially after they've established the run a little bit. They've always needed to do that all year, but they can sling the rock. And Marvin Harrison is a freak, and C.J. Stroud throws
Yeah.
balls into tiny little windows, and it could be interesting.
Yeah.
Is all I'm saying. And Georgia's offense basically operates like the peak Patriots if they had two Gronks. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
basically, like they have just two freak of nature tight ends.
I, yeah.
That's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Ohio State. So my prediction for the score of the game, I think Georgia's going to win, and I think they're going to win handily. So I got Georgia winning it 45 to 45 to 28. 45-28.
45-28.
Yeah.
So here's what I think about it. All right. Ohio State has just as much talent as Georgia does. They are the Big Ten version of like an SEC team in terms of all the talent they have. They have so many people behind, next man up. You know, I think as long as they don't come out flat, then they have a real shot at winning the game, a real shot. Because I know Georgia's really good. But they might be looking past a one-loss Ohio State team that got embarrassed to Michigan,
Could be.
and some ACC teams have those kind of like blinders on. They just expect to be in the championship sometimes. Like there's been a couple Alabama teams that played really really flat in the semifinals, but they were like, oh okay, yeah, we need to play now, and then they just ran away with it. I don't think Georgia will have that ability to do that on an Ohio State team. So if they do that and Ohio State comes to play, they have the guys to compete with them. That being said, I think it's a one-score game. I don't think it's a blowout if those factors are how I think they're going to be, especially with Ohio State getting that new life, right? So I think it's going to be 42-38.
42-38. 42-38 Ohio State. We'll see, man. It's going to be a fun day of football. We got K-State versus Alabama in the morning, and then we got those two games in the afternoon and evening. So right as the K-State game ends, you're looking forward to the Michigan State or the Michigan versus TCU game.
Yep.
So it'll be fun. I'm excited. It's going to be a fun day of football.